Sup, people? I'm gonna be ranting on something that's been on my mind, so here it is. Okay, so you know how Stephanie, I don't know if you guys know this, but Stephanie Meyer says that she likes comic books, which of course just continues to confirm what we already know, that she's nothing but a 30-something-year-old fangirl who, tries to look like a real geek or nerd, but just fails miserably. And she said, and this will be painful for a second because I'll have to compare Stan Lee's work to hers. She says that the Cullens, the conception of the Cullens was partially based off the X-Men, of like a group of people who aren't biologically related, who kind of become a family, and of course they all have superpowers. Okay, now that I'm done comparing a genius to a hack, I'll move on. So, I think that Meyer kind of has left out, with the Cullens, the most important thing about being, a comic book superhero. And that would be the hero part of being a superhero. Because I was thinking about it. What do any of the Cullens, except for Carlisle, do for anybody? For, society, for, the world, whatever. Like, Carlisle, I'll give him that, because yes, he's a doctor, he is actually doing something with his immortal life, to benefit others. And I think it's interesting how he's not really using his supernatural powers, to help people. Like, I guess you could say that he uses his inexhaustible energy because they don't sleep. So yeah, that's how he's helping society out, is by being a doctor. Yeah, but the rest of the Cullens do nothing. Take Edward. I'm pretty sure I heard, or rather read somewhere, that he had 2 doctorates or something. And what does he do with this awesome education that he has? He keeps going to high school. And the rest of the Cullens, who isn't Esme, but, Esme does anything for the plot anyway, do anything, with their lives. And, Edward has his whole emo trip about, killing people before, and about being a monster. All he does is just sit there and bitch about his pain without doing anything about it. Saving people, not just Bella, but, becoming sort of a vigilante, for the downtrodden, and then he, has to all struggle, are, bad people really bad, or can they be redeemed? Because this has been done so many times, a supernatural type guy who then, who used to, kill people, but then goes on to save them. That's been done, and done well, so many times that, So yeah, he just sits there and bitches about his pain, without, trying to make it better. That's the same kind of bullshit that really keeps me from, getting past Shinji Ikari from Evangelion, because all he does is, whine and whine, and I would just want to punch that little kid in the face. But at least Shinji has better excuses than Edward to, be that way, because Shinji has this, huge obligation, that he gets roped into by his, evil father, and, yeah, he has to deal with, being in this kind of post-apocalypse world that, is going to, collapse in on itself at any moment. So then let's look at Edward. He is surrounded by a happy family. He's and they're living it up in that world. They're all crazy rich. They have stockpiles of money where they can, just buy islands. So, Edward has himself a pretty good life. He may be lonely, in which he chooses, to emo whine about people and how, predictable we all are and how much we all suck. But still, he has himself a good life, and he really has no reason to bitch about anything. And, like I said before, he could actually solve his, problems, alleviate some of that guilt by going out into the world and then saving people. Like I said, and not just Bella, and not just, complain to Bella about all the bad stuff he's done in his past. But even then, he talked about how he was able to, read people's minds and, size up the people that they are, and he only went after quote-unquote bad people because heaven knows, Meyer can't write a truly dark character, if her life depended on it, or when she introduces you to something that's potentially dark, she justifies it right away, so, you can go, oh, well, that's okay then. Alright, so then why I titled this video Edward versus Edward, kind of the thing that spurred this whole thing on has been watching Full Metal Alchemist. Who obviously the main protagonist is named Edward Elric. And even though Edward isn't my favorite character, I don't think I even he's not even my favorite Elric brother. I actually like Al just a little bit more than Edward. But I still love Edward. And I love his character, and he's interesting, and I love the way he's written and put into the story and everything. But yes, Edward and Al make this huge mistake. And they don't even try to justify it. Like, they always keep saying that we know we were wrong. We almost, deserve to be the way that we are, with Automail and, Metal. So, yes, Edward Elric totally pwns Edward Cullen's ass. So, I guess, in a way, I am Team Edward. Just Team and Edward. That's so much better than Edward Cullen. Okay, I think that was enough anger about how the Cullens never really do anything for society, because Smire points out how super special, awesome they're all supposed to be, and they could do so much with that. She could have done so much with that and had them, helps human society, and then that would be real conflict with the Volturi. And, she just could have done so much. She doesn't even realize, the own potential of her crappy little book, that, it almost makes me a little sad. I never thought I'd be sad that, Twilight's, air quote, potential would be wasted, but yeah, it is. Okay. I think, that's it, and that this has gone on long enough. Auf Wiedersehen. P.S. Sorry, I didn't think I delivered the point that I really wanted to with the rant. Well, here it is. To bring it home. Edward Elric. Actual hero. Edward Cullen. Whiny little emo vampire bitch. Okay. I thank the writer of Full Metal Alchemist, because thanks to her, the name Edward hasn't been ruined for me forever. Okay, auf Wiedersehen.
All female officers will be required to wear tiny miniskirts!